Hi, I'm Kate Wyatt from Paella Puppets, and today I'm going to show you how we make our original puppet patterns. We have a new song which we're preparing for, and we need some new puppets. So I am creating a tadpole and some frogs, because the lyrics mention tadpoles and frogs. So in order to make the basic pattern, I'm using this monster clay. I've gone for soft because it's easier to manipulate and get the shapes that we need. So I've sourced this in the UK, so that's good. The other person that you can watch online in order to get this technique from is Adam Krutinger. So have a look at puppetnerd.com and have a look at his videos too, because he has got some really great videos online if you're going to have a go at making your own patterns. So I've covered my surface with some recycled packaging here, and here it is. So I've created a tadpole shape using the clay. So you can see here, I'm hoping that's showing okay. We've got a bit of sunshine coming through. Don't know what that is. Anyway, so I've created half. I don't need the whole shape. I only need half to create the puppet pattern, because there's going to be two sides exactly the same. So I'm going to use mirror image of the pattern piece in order to create both halves. So I've got the shape of the tadpole here, just half of it, and in a moment I'm going to cover it with little bits of masking tape to help create the pattern. So I have done the same for the frog's head, if you can see that there. So that's the top of the frog's head. So that what stuff is there that I've created there. And also this is a side view of the frog's body. So there we go. So again, I only need half because it's going to be a mirror image of the same. So a flatter back and a rounder tummy. And I'm only, although I've made the whole head so I get the shape right, I only need to cover half of the head with masking tape. So let me get started on the next process and I'll show you what I mean. So I've got bog standard masking tape, and I'm going to tear off tiny little bits, and I'm going to cover my clay shape with little bits of masking tape. I'm going to overlap it as I go. You can do slightly bigger bits than this, but I find I like using the small bits to get the contours better. And I want to overlap it. So at this point, I'm going to speed up the camera so you can see what I'm doing without having to watch a long, laborious process. So I'm going to carry on and do the same with the body of the frog and the head of the frog, and I'll show you when I get to that point. Okay, so here we are with the three pieces covered in masking tape, small pieces, and now what I'm going to do in a little while is to peel them off to make my pattern pieces. But before I do that, I need to decide where the darts are going to go, so that when I do peel it off, it's going to lie flat. So let's start with the head. Now I only need half of it, so I'm going to decide where the middle line is and draw that in. and I'm going all the way around. Oh, I seem to have gone off track a bit. So let's correct that. That look about right. Okay, so there are going to be some lines. I'm going to have to cut some darts in here so that my pattern lies flat. Getting pen all over my hands, I should use a Sharpie. And I'm going to need some in the head as well. So probably here. Maybe here. You see what I'm doing? And then what I will do is I'll get my Stanley knife. Let's move those out of the way for now. And then I will cut where I've put the darts. And I might need to adjust these once I start peeling off. And now what I'm going to do is gently tease off. Might help if I wore my glasses rather than have them on top of my head. Gently tease off the pattern from the clay. And there we are. Okay, so let's just move these out of the way. And let's lay our pattern sheet down. Actually, that's going to lay fairly flat now. Okay, and I'm going to use my pen now and this masking tape pattern as a guide. To draw what will be the pattern for the frog's head. This will be the foam, and the fabric will need to be bigger. That's the mouth. And that is the basic shape for your foam pattern for the frog's head. So that's clever, isn't it? It works out really well. So if you want to see how the frog comes out, take a look at the frog video, which I'll be making in the next couple of weeks. But I will now go on and have a look at making the patterns for the tadpole and the frog's body and show you how they come out. So I've now drawn out where I think the darts will go for the tadpole. And as you can see, I have drawn complete lines across here, and that's because I want to do the tail in 4 sections so I can join it together and so it can have a smooth movement. But again, you'll have to check the tadpole video when I make that in a few weeks' time to see how that works out. So I'm going to cut the pattern off the tadpole now. I'll speed the video up. So you can see that I've peeled the pattern piece off the tadpole here, This didn't peel particularly well, so I've actually created an extra dart. We had ended up with one very large dart, so I created an extra dart in there, as you can see. So, and there's a dart there that matches the other one. Let's just get this right. It's a small one. You can see I didn't need these two darts here because the pattern laid flat without them, so I'm not going to need those. I might need to neaten that off a little bit. And so then we've got the tail bits here, which I'm going to cut out of foam separately, create a longer tail as well. And then I'm going to attach with bits of fabric between them so that we get a real sort of smooth movement inside the fleece skin. Okay, so that is the tadpole. So I'm doing these for Paella patterns. We want to encourage people to have a go at doing their own, of course, but we'd also be delighted if you bought a pattern off us. We're going to have an Etsy shop when we're ready, and we'll be selling some of these patterns on there. So I have gone ahead and drawn where I think the darts will need to be for the frog's body. This is going to be a really useful pattern here because I can just see this fat tummy pattern being really useful for some of our other puppets as well. So I'm going to go ahead and cut and see if I can make the pattern piece. What I might end up doing actually is taking this right down the middle. Okay, so I have here the sketchy drawings I did from the pieces of masking tape, and then what I've done is I have taken each section and I've traced them out much more neatly so that I can enlarge it, because obviously the original ones will come out, if I did those in foam, they would come out exactly the same size as the clay models that I make, which is way too small. So we need to enlarge them. So this was the original of the tadpole tail. I then enlarged it by 42%, but that's still too small. So I enlarged it by 186%. So that's the original, that's 186%. And if we look at the tadpole's head at 186% as well, so you can see, start to get a feel for what sort of size the puppet is going to be. And I felt that that was about the right size. So that's what I'm going to stick with. So I then, so the next stage will be to cut this from foam and then to enlarge the pattern by about 1/4 to 1/2 an inch around for the fleece. If the fleece is being sewn by hand, and another 1/4 inch on top of that if you're going to machine sew it. But as I said earlier, I'm going to make a video and follow through the process of making these puppets up, but the tadpole and the frog, so you'll be able to see those in part. So let me show you the frog pattern as well. So that was the tadpole. Keep all these bits of paper, by the way. I always keep all of them at all the different stages so that I can go back at any point I need to. This was the original frog belly, and this is the frog belly at 186%. Okay, so you can see that's going to be good. What I haven't done here yet, if I just grab, sorry about that. So that's the clay with the tape cut away. What I haven't done here is left a hole for the neck or for the bottom where the arm's going to go in the bottom of the puppet. So, so when I do my pattern, I'm going to need to add that in. But at the moment, I'm finding it difficult to work out where that would be. I'm guessing it's probably going to be probably here. But it probably need to be a bit wider than that. So what I'm going to do is to make up the foam, and then I'm going to cut away the holes the right size, and then I'll refer back to the original pattern and alter it. So these patterns will eventually be available on our Etsy shop, which isn't up yet, but it will post on the Paella Puppets Facebook page as soon as it's up and ready. So do look out for that. And all of these patterns will be in PDF on A4 pages, and where the pattern pieces are larger than A4, they'll be spread across two pieces of A4 so that you can cut and paste them together. So it's nice and easy, and you don't have to do any enlarging or reducing on your computers. So that's the frog's belly. And just to show you the last one, this was the original frog's head tidied up. And this is the one where it's enlarged, which I think will be a good size for a frog's head. So I'm quite keen to get on and see what they look like in foam to make sure I've got the shapes right. So I'm going to make those up and I'll show you the finished shape of the foam, but you'll have to refer to the frogs and the tadpoles individual videos to see the whole process through from start to finish for those individual puppets. Okay, so I have put together the pieces of foam. This is the head. I am really happy with the shape of the head, and the mouth when it's closed will give a lovely flat head. You imagine big googly eyes on the front here. So I'm really happy with that, and I'm happy with the size. I've increased the size of the neck hole, so the final pattern will have a larger area of neck. So I'm happy with that. The body, I've done the front, put the front of the body together as well. Not so happy with that. I'm happy with the shape. I love the belly and the shape. I just want it to be bigger, so I'm going to enlarge the pattern again for the final frog puppet, and for the pattern that we sell it will have a larger body. You can also see that I have now cut out where the arm will go. Actually that's upside down, so that's for the wrist. There will be a piece of pattern for neck as well, connecting the two together, and a larger opening because obviously further down your arm is wider. And these little pieces that I've cut away from the foam I will use to correct the original pattern. So you may be wondering how I'm going to do the legs. So I'm going to freehand draw the front legs and the back legs onto A3 paper. Once I've got the body the right size and I can see them, I'll be hand drawing those, and I will I will share those with the making of the frog puppets. Okay, so watch this space for frogs coming soon, and I will video the make so that you can follow along and see how we create our puppets as well.